friendship, trust, kindness, dismantling and uprooting the oppressive, suffocating chokehold of capitalism, harmony. That is what Fluff and Fury is about. Hey everyone, welcome to Weird Place. My name is Lee, and today we will be teaching you how to play our very own game, Fluff and Fury. Fluff and Fury was written by Gabriel Gueiros, and the art is by Gabriel Góes. It's a game for 3 to 5 players led by a game master, and the game runs on a D6 dice pool system that is mission-based, so that every time you play, it can be a self-contained adventure. The future is bleak. Climate change wrecked the world, and organic bodies can't survive anymore. But humanity always finds a way. The rich developed humanoid synth robots to transfer their minds into, but the rest of us, everyone had one of those little robot teddy bear AI assistants, so combine that with some military-grade technology and we have CyBears. They're cute and they're built for survival. Transfer your consciousness into these fluffy little bodies and live forever, but for a price, of course. Nobody ever gets to live for free. In Fluff and Fury, you and your gang of CyBears get to take on the corporate evils of the world. Crash a fancy gala, steal some jewels from a museum, blow up a secret research bunker. Whatever you want to do, you can, as long as it's in the name of fighting the system. Character creation. First, let's determine what type of cute you are. CyBears come in all sorts of cute types, but no matter the look, CyBears are always fluffy. Roll 2d6 of different colors, one like this, one like this. One will determine the first digit and the second the other. There are 36 different cute types, or you can always use your imagination. So let's roll. We have a 1 and a 1. A bear, of course, the classic. Class. Let's determine what our little bear is good at. You can choose or roll for your class. The classes are Mechanic, Tank, Hacker, Face, Pyro, and Phantom. Let's go. We rolled a 2. We're a tank, ready to blow some shit up. HP. Each class has its own unique traits and abilities, so check the class page to determine the specific skill sets of your CyBear. For ours, we will roll our HP first from the tank page. A tank gets 12 plus 2d6 HP. They are one of the beefiest CyBears out there. 10 plus 12 is 22. That's our HP. Special moves. Each CyBear has a game-breaking special move that you can use once per charge. Mechanics can fix/heal other bears. Hackers can control other CyBears. Faces can influence enemies and convince them to join your side. Pyros can craft devastating bombs out of pretty much anything. And Phantoms can go invisible. The tank, well, tanks can destroy an enemy with a single punch. No rolls necessary. Let's mark in our character sheet our special move, Punch a Bear, once per charge. Base skills. Now we have to determine our base skills. These are your core attributes. A CyBear has an array of 4, 3, 2, and 2. Each base skill will receive one of these values. For our tank, of course, we are going to add 4 to Force, 2 to Kinetics, and let's go 2 to Neural and 3 to Influence. Let's say we want to have a very charismatic punching machine. For your character, feel free to distribute the array as you wish. You can definitely have a tank with only 2 in Force if you want, and put all your points into Influence. Skill expertises. This is what you will use to make your skill checks. The dice pool that you use to roll for checks would be your base skill plus your skill expertise. Our tank has 15 points to distribute in expertises at level 1, which you can find on the character page for each class. We will follow the class recommendation here, but you can choose to distribute your skills however you want. For us, it'll be Raw Power 4 points, Brawling 3 points, Willpower 3, Demolition 2, Terrorizing 1, Piloting 1, and Sabotage 1. Remember, you can always make a check and roll for any skill, even if you have no points in it. So for example, our tank has no points in lockpicking, but you can always still try to roll for it anyways. You will just roll the base dice in Kinetics, which in our case would be 2. Anytime you roll a skill that you don't have expertise in, you would just roll the base dice. Weapons expertise. In the game, each weapon has a special rule where you can manipulate dice to achieve even better results. So for weapons available, we have the Bazooka, the Flamethrower, the Shotgun, dual pistols, sniper rifle, and the machine gun. In the how to play section, we will cover them a little bit more detail, but for now, let's roll to see what our tank's starting weapon is. A 1. It's a bazooka. Classic. So let's mark a bazooka in the weapon section on our character sheet, and we can see here that a bazooka rolls 12d6 and does 1 point of damage on 6s. Since we are an expert in the bazooka, if you roll a 3, 4, and a 5, they all count as 1 extra hit. If you do not have expertise in a specific weapon, you will just roll the amount of dice for that weapon, but only 6s would be a hit. CyberWear. Now it's time to decide what amazing default factory features your CyBear comes with. TMI, the creators of CyBears, used to make combat bots, so you can expect some pretty mind-blowing add-ons. Also, all CyBears come with a pre-installed nervous system that feels pain that is set on by default. Don't want to feel pain anymore? There's an upgrade for that if you can afford it. First, let's roll a d6 to determine which table we will be picking our CyberWear on. There is a total of 72 different possible CyberWear mods, and don't feel bad if you didn't get something good on the first try. You can always buy it later on. We have a 2, so that'll be the first table. And then we roll 2 d6 to figure out which CyberWear mod we have, and if you have the official Fluff and Fury dice like we have here, you can easily choose 1 digit per dice. A 2 and a 2. Extra limb. 1 retractable extra limb. Incredible. Backgrounds. Now, the best part. Let's give our CyBear a background. First, we will do origins. So you roll 2d6 and you assign 1 digit to each part of the table. And we have a 1 and a 3. We are a scrap scavenger. You live off of the junk of the old world. And then we will do the same for drives, 1d6 per digit, so a 2 and a 5. Fame. Our drive is to be remembered. You want to be famous. And then we do the same thing for vibes. 5-5. We have the Agent of Chaos. Let's recap. Our origin is a scrap scavenger. We live off of the junk of the old world, and we want to be famous, but our vibe is Agent of Chaos. Credits. Now let's determine the amount of credits that we have. Very important because, as you know, living is expensive. So we will roll 1d6 times 100 for the amount of credits that we have. And I've got a 5, so we have 500 credits. A little note here, a month's rent for a charging closet, which is basically a room with a plug, is 3,000 credits a month. So you better start getting some good paying gigs soon. Existing is expensive. Name. Lastly, let's name our creation. In the world of Fluff and Fury, there are 3 common types of names. There are old companies, so companies have the same rights as human beings, sometimes even more so. People of Patch City love to name themselves as companies of the past, so things like Hitachi, Sony, Minolta, JVC, very common names. Old intellectual properties. Another fad is naming yourself as an IP of the past, things like Total Recall, Transformers, Fargo, Beanie Baby, and things like that. And lastly, there is the classic underground names in the world of Fluff and Fury. So these are things like Rancid Breath, Dead Meat, Scraps, Stinky Slug. Our bear will be called Skirt Steak.
What is the name?
Skirt Steak! Pronouns. In the world of Fluff and Fury, human bodies have become obsolete. Most CyBears now use they, them. But if you want to identify with the old flair of the past, you can definitely use he or she as you wish. Our CyBear, Skirt Steak, will be a they. Crew name. Lastly, with your ragtag group of rebels, aka your other players, you need to decide on a crew name together. And then that's it for character creation. How to play. Fluff and Fury uses only d6s, and it's a very simple system. Whenever a risky situation arises and the outcome is uncertain, you roll your dice pool for a skill check. Dice pool. Dice pool is the number of dice you use. Dice pool is the number of dice you roll in order to accomplish something. The types of rolls you will do are skills, so this consists of your base dice plus your expertise dice, and weapons. This is your weapons damage dice. Successes. If a 6 is rolled in the dice pool, the action is successful. The more 6s you roll, the more amazing and impressive the result becomes. Failure. If no 6s were rolled, then the action was unsuccessful. Failure doesn't mean the end. It just means that the situation changes for the worst. Worse? Advantage dice. The GM can grant advantage dice when rolling. This die will be added to your total dice pool. Players can roll up to 6 advantage dice at any time. These can be earned in several ways. You can have a situational advantage. The GM can grant extra dice when the situation is highly favorable. You can save extra 6s. So if extra 6s were rolled in a previously successful roll, one of those can be saved in order to gain an extra dice for a future roll. Only 1 advantage die can be saved at any moment per player. Prep actions. A player can perform a prep action during the preparation phase of a gig in order to gain an advantage die for all rolls related to a specific skill during their next mission. Group actions. In a group action, one player leads the roll while others contribute 1 advantage die each instead of rolling separately. Up to an additional 3 dice can be added to their dice pool. Glitch oil. If a player drinks glitch oil, get glitching! Well, you can gain 1 advantage die on your next skill check. But be careful, if you drink 6 glitch oils, you will gain a glitch. F dice. At any moment, the GM can add F dice to any roll, including skill rolls and weapons rolls. These dice are a different color from the regular dice, or they must be rolled separately. Any ones that you roll will cancel out successful 6s. If you have the official Fluff and Fury F dice pack, the pink ones, these guys, are the F dice and the green ones are your skill dice. F dice represent how difficult the task that you're trying to do is. There's no limit to how many F dice can be added to a single roll, and rolling a 6 on an F dice does not count as a success. Combining F dice and advantage dice. When F dice and advantage dice are present in a single roll, they will cancel each other out on a 1-to-1 basis. After canceling out, you can roll the remaining dice pool. Skills. Whenever something risky is attempted outside of combat, it will require a skill check. CyBears are programmed to excel, since they are killer robotic machines wrapped in fluff, so they can do things that no organic human ever could. Don't forget to embrace over-the-top and risky solutions. Skills are divided into your mind and your body. The mind are the neural and influence, and the body are force and kinetics. Base dice. So you assign the array of 4, 3, 2, and 2 to any order to your force, kinetics, neural, and influence skills. That value would become your base dice pool for that group of skills. Expertise dice. Expertise points come from the CyBears class in the 24 skills listed. Skill dice pool equals your base dice plus your expertise dice. For example, a CyBear with a neural of 4 and a hacking of 3 rolls a total dice pool of 7 for a hacking skill check. You would have your 4 base plus the 3 from hacking. Dice can be rolled for any skill attempted though, so even if you have 0 expertise points, you can always just roll the base dice number. Resistance checks. When facing a virus, a mind hack, or any harmful effect, you can roll a resistance check. The GM can decide which skill applies, and you roll it like a normal skill check. A result of 6 will negate the effect. Group rolls. When CyBears face a challenge together, they don't have to roll individually. One comrade can lead the roll, and the others will add 1d6 each up to a maximum of 3d6 added. Contested rolls. When characters clash, both will roll the appropriate skills. Whoever rolls more 6s wins. If both sides fail to roll any 6s, then the GM can narrate the outcome and might call for a new roll to keep the story moving. Skills. There are 24 skills. Each skill can reach a maximum of 4 points, so a maximum skill roll will be 8 dice. 4 from your base, which would be force, kinetics, neural, or influence, and 4 from your expertises. Your force skills are brawling, demolition, raw power, heavy machinery, terrorizing, salvaging. Kinetic skills are stealth, lockpicking, theft, piloting, tinkering, maneuvering. Neural skills are repair, hacking, investigation, knowledge, sabotage, street smarts. Your influence skills are acute, deception, haggling, psychology, propaganda, and willpower. Combat. Combat is structured in turns. In combat, players go first, and then the enemies after. If the players are ambushed, the enemies can go first, and if a case is truly uncertain, you can roll a die. 1 to 3 for the enemies to go first, 4 to 6 for the players. Each turn, a player can perform one action, such as attacking with a weapon, helping a fellow comrade, using an item, or interacting with the environment. And then you can perform a free action like moving, so up to around a zone or 25 feet-ish, or drinking a glitch oil. Glitch oil! Weapons. When using a weapon, roll the number of dice equal to the weapon's dice pool. Each 6 that you rolled does 1 point of damage, representing a successful hit that pierces the target's armor. Any result below a 6 means that the shot missed, ricocheted off, or failed to do any real lasting damage. Weapons expertise. Having expertise in a specific weapon means that the dice can be manipulated to achieve better results. Each weapon has its own rules for how manipulation works. Weapon types. Bazookas. Bazookas are simple. Their dice pool is 12d6. If you are an expert in bazookas, you can convert all rolled 3s, 4s, and 5s to 6s as well. Let's try it out for ourselves. Anything that's a 1 or a 2 does not hit. 3 becomes a hit. 4 becomes a hit. 4 becomes a hit. 5 becomes a hit. 2 more 4s. And all of these are not hits. So all of these would turn into a 6. And in total, we have 7 hits. Bazookas have blast damage and are ideal at medium range. The Flamethrower. Flamethrowers roll 8d6 and any consecutive numbers are converted to 6s. Let's roll them. So, on the Flamethrower, sequences become hits in addition to your natural 6s. And a sequence is any 2 numbers that are in order. So we have 3 natural 6s here. So we've got a 1, 2, and a 3 here, which can all count as 6s. So these would each become a 6 to become a sequence. 2 and 5, no sequence there, so that is not a hit. We've got 6 hits in total. Flamethrowers are good at close range and can hit up to 3 different targets. Shotgun. Roll 6d6. All dice showing a 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all converted to 6s. You basically only miss if you roll a 1. Let's roll 6d6. 2 becomes a 6. 6 is a hit. This 1 misses, unfortunately, but this becomes a hit. This becomes a hit, and the 5 also becomes a hit. The shotgun is great at close range, but you can only shoot 1 target. Dual pistols. Roll 2 sets of 4d6 each, 1 in each hand, kind of like a pew-pew situation. Each natural 6 is a hit, as usual, and if the same number appears across both sets, they also become 6s. So you're essentially looking for a match across both sets of dice. Representing a pistol in each hand, and you want to match numbers across the 2 to give you additional hits. So we've got a 3 here and a 3 here. Both would become 6s to become a hit. And then we've got a 5 here and a 5 here, and these would become a hit. So these do not match across the 2 hands, but these 2 each would become a hit, so we have 4 hits in total. Pistols can have up to 2 targets, and their ideal range is at medium. Sniper rifle. The sniper rifle rolls 8d6. After rolling, you can adjust dice up and down to achieve 6s. The dice cannot go over 6 or below 1. For example, we will roll 8d6 here. It means that you can precisely tick dice up and down. What that means is dice that are at 1 cannot below 1. So we can take this 5. Let me move all of these down so it's a little less confusing. But we can take this 5 and turn it into a 6, and then take this 2 and turn it into a 1. So you're moving 1 up and 1 down. So these are locked and cannot be changed anymore. But this 4 can turn into a 5, and then this 2 can go down into a 1. Also locked. This 5 can then go to a 6, and this 3 can go down to a 2, and then we can do this 4 up into a 5, this 2 down into a 1, this 5 up into a 6, and this 3 down into a 2, and then that's pretty much it. So in the end, we've got 3 hits with sniper rifle. The sniper rifles are ideal at long range, and you can only target 1 enemy. The machine gun. So the machine gun rolls 8d6s. You get 6 free rerolls usable on any dice except a dice that has a 6 or a 1. Each 6 counts as a hit. So we have 8 dice here. And let's roll. These 2 that are hits and a 1 that is locked. So let's do our first reroll. So move this over here. So I've got another 1 that becomes locked. So our second reroll. And then another 6. So this is our third reroll. Nothing there. Fourth. Another 1. Fifth. Oh, another 6. And 6th reroll. Nothing. So we've got 4 hits in total at the end there. For the machine gun, you can have as many targets as you want, and the ideal range is at medium. Movement. During combat, CyBears can move 1 range of movement on their turn. Movement in this game is measured using range categories. The ranges are engaged, so physical contact, or 0 feet, close, which is walking distance, like 10 to 15 feet, medium, which is running distance, 25 feet-ish, and long, which is far distance, like more than 50 feet away. When a weapon is used outside of its ideal range, the GM should assign F dice to the attacker to reflect that reduced effectiveness. The GM can use their discretion for the amount added. Cover penalties and armor. When a target is behind cover, the defender receives armor as protection. Armor reduces 1 damage per attack. The amount of armor for cover depends on how much of the target is covered. Fixing CyBears. A CyBear can be healed in combat by a mechanic's ability or by an ally using their repair skill. Each 6 rolled heals 1 HP. Outside of combat, full repairs are possible using time and tools. NeuroCores. A CyBear is a robot body with a human brain inside. You are a neurocore. Take the brain matter, fuse it with some patent-pending quantum computing gel, and encase it into a nuclear explosion-resistant cylinder. CyBears never die, as long as they have a buddy to pick up their neurocore. When a neurocore is not plugged into a CyBear body, their owner is in a comatose-like state, waiting to be rebooted. Destroyed. When a CyBear reaches 0 hit points, their neurocore is ejected and the current body is considered destroyed. They cannot take further actions. If the neurocore remains intact and the body hasn't been fully obliterated, there may still be hope. Stabilization. If the body is at exactly 0 HP, an ally may attempt a basic repair skill check. Each success, a 6, heals 1 HP. Total destruction. If the body has taken damage beyond 0 HP into the negative numbers, then it is considered completely wrecked. This body cannot be repaired in combat or with a single action. A full repair or salvage operation is required. If the neurocore is recovered and installed in a new body, initiate one of 2 protocols. Mind Preservation Protocol. In this mode, you get to keep all of your mind points and only redistribute the body skills. New body, same mind. Or you can do a full factory reset protocol. In this mode, you roll an entirely new CyBear and all you keep is the background, origins, vibes, and drives. Nothing else. Full new chrome. Charging. A fully charged CyBear can operate for up to 30 continuous hours without needing to recharge. To recharge a CyBear, you need to find a charging station. There are fast charging stations where you can charge in 4 hours or slow charging for 8 hours. Once a character recharges fully, their special moves are back online if they were used. Neurofog. While CyBears no longer need to eat, drink, or breathe, their minds are still human. Neurofog is a psychotic condition caused by avoiding sleep mode for too long. Even if plugged into a power source, staying awake continuously will lead to cognitive decay, hallucinations, and memory fragmentation. To function properly, most CyBears need at least 4 hours of sleep every 30 hours. If you can't enter sleep mode after 30 hours, gain 1 overload point, plus an additional overload point per 30 hours you don't sleep until you enter sleep mode. Sleep mode will clear 1 overload point every 4 hours slept. Overload. CyBears can push past their limits. At any time, re-roll all dice for any pool and mark 1 overload. From then on, add 1 F dice to all future rolls. Each new overload adds another F dice. If you reach 6 overload, reset to 0 and gain a glitch. Overload is cleared by sleeping except for the permanent points from too much cyberware. Glitches. Glitches can be gained in several ways, most commonly by pushing yourself too hard through overload. When you gain a glitch, roll on the glitch table. A CyBear can have multiples of the same glitch. Glitches can be repaired in most shops, and you can check prices on the CyBearWear shop fees table. CyberWear. CyBears can install several upgrades to their bodies. These are called CyBearWear. They range from night vision all the way to things like a self-destruction core capable of destroying an entire city block. There are more than 72 options to choose from. CyberWear does have its costs. The more mods installed, the more energy it drains and the mental strain that it causes. If you exceed the recommended limit of 6 augmentations, you will start to lose some of your functionality. For a simple game, you can cap the augmentations at 6. For longer campaigns, you can use the overload modules. When 6 installations are exceeded, add a permanent overload point per slot. Sleep mode does not clear the permanent overload points. You can have a maximum of 11 CyberWear, or you will be in a constant glitch state. Hacking. The world is circuitry and networks. It's alive, connected, and impossible to contain. Outside of bunker humans, mutant sewer dwellers, and a few clone farms owned by SynLabs, nearly every inhabitant of Patch City is cybernetic. Quantum gel computer human brains in chrome bodies. For hackers, it is a versatile playground. Hacking is an action in which a player must physically connect to a terminal to hack. There's no globalized internet anymore. Networks are now local only. CyBears can pull cables from their bodies and/or use a decker to connect. Deckers are analog computers that help hackers. They grant 1 advantage die per decker. Each decker takes up an item slot, and a character can carry a maximum of 6 items. Command. When hacking, a player must input a clear command. Anyone can do simple commands, but only hackers can do the complex commands. The GM will create a protocol beforehand. For example, a turret has the protocol sense movement, turn on, spare the listed targets, and fire. A simple command can be to fire or turn off. A complex command can be to invert listed targets or make all non-cybered listed targets, and etc. You can find more details on page 42 for hacking. Hacking codes and passwords. For complex systems like doors, passwords, and mainframes, don't use the basic 6 equals the success rule. These can use the dice code system for hacking. The GM will roll a number of dice based on the difficulty, 4, 8, 16, or 32. This becomes the code. The hacker rolls their hacking dice pool as a regular action. Any matching numbers remove the dice from that code. If there's a duplicate in the code, these have to be matched separately. If any numbers remain, you must do another hacking action in order to finish the code. For example, let's say the GM rolls a code of 8d6, and as an action, the hacker rolls their hacking. However, they only have a dice pool of 7d6. You would do your 7 hacking roll and then remove any matching numbers. And then, since you don't have enough to finish the code, you must do at least 1 more hacking roll to try and break the code. This system keeps hacking more tense and a little bit more dynamic, especially during time-sensitive scenes. High-risk targets. High-risk targets are dangerous. These include corporate servers, military vaults, security hubs, or anything with an AI active defense. If a player fails when doing a high-risk target hack, you roll on the high-risk hack table to find out what went wrong. A note on hacking other CyBears. You can only control the bodies of CyBears. You cannot hack into a neuroCore. If you want to force eject a neuroCore from a fully operational target's body, you must do the following. Perform a successful high-risk hack, and 2, the target must fail a resistance check of willpower. Bosses, however, are immune from neuroCore ejecting. Gigs. Gigs are how the game is structured. A gig usually lasts 1 or 2 sessions. Each gig consists of 3 different phases: prep, mission, and payoff. Prep. The phase where players plan, scout, gather gear, create distractions, or plant traps. Each player usually gets 2 prep actions, 1 per in-game day. The player describes what they want to accomplish, and the GM calls for a relevant skill roll. Prep actions are never total failures. Even on a bad roll, players should still get something out of it, just not exactly what they hoped for. During prep, players can also buy items freely as long as it makes narrative sense. Mission. This is where everything kicks off. Hacking, combat, infiltration, chasing, and unexpected chaos. This is the core of the gameplay and where most of the action happens. Once all the prep actions are complete, the game jumps straight into the mission. No more downtime, no more setup. As soon as the last prep action is done, the GM should move directly into the action. This is where the main adventure unfolds and where skills, decisions, and combat all take center stage. Missions can take many different forms, from a heist to a sabotage, assassinations, transport, smuggling, infiltration, and much more. Payoff. After a mission, the crew takes stock of what happened and collects their rewards. Missions should always grant credits or other valuable assets. At this moment, the GM can also track the world changes, faction reactions, and the world reacting to the player actions. A crew sheet is available to download so players can also track their crew standings, wanted level, and other progress. At this moment, players can also respond to different questions to level up if you're playing a longer campaign. Restart the loop. Once players receive their credits and roleplay the fallout from the mission, it's time to look for the next gig. This part is a little bit more open-ended. Players might ask around, call some contacts, or follow up on other leads. Once the crew locks in on a new objective, the GM can announce the start of the next prep phase. From here on, the cycle continues. Enemies and bosses. There are two types of foes in the game, enemies and bosses. Bosses are usually stronger and much more apt for combat. Most special abilities, like the Punch a Bear, will not work on a boss. All foes can also use the same weapons as players and may also have expertise. If an enemy has expertise in a weapon, their attacks cause 1 point of damage on any rolled 4s and 5s in addition to 6s. They don't do dice manipulation like the players do. An E in brackets next to the attack indicates if they have expertise or not. Enemies can also perform skill checks and resistance checks. The GM can assign values according to the enemy's strengths, ranging from 1 to 8 d6 at their discretion. Here is an example of a boss called Echo. Leveling up. To level up, it's a very simple process in this game. At the end of each gig in the payoff phase, the GM will ask you 6 questions. If you have answered yes to at least 2 of the questions, you can move from level 1 up to level 2. If you answer yes to at least 3, you can move from level 2 up to level 3. You must be at least 1 level below to go to the next level, you can't jump levels, and you can only gain 1 level per gig that you do. The following questions will be the same for every single level that you increase. 1. Did your character express their background, origins, vibes, or drives? 2. Did you defeat a dangerous foe or solve a major problem through clever thinking? 3. Did your character act like an icon in the making using their skills, class, or vibe in a way that only they could? 4. Has your crew become a symbol of something, and do most people know who you are yet? 5. Did you reshape public opinion or plant seeds of civil revolution in a significant way? And 6. Did your crew change the course of civilization, restructure the status quo, and directly contribute to the fall of capitalism? If so, congratulations, you're level 6. These are all the rules you needed to know to play Fluff and Fury. This How to Play is sponsored by Glitch Oil! Get glitching! Get better! Every can of Glitch Oil drink gives you 1 advantage die for your next roll. Drink with moderation after the 6th Glitch Oil, gain 1 glitch. Get glitching! Glitch Oil! Lore. Fluff and Fury takes place in Patch City, the meanest city in all of South America, once called Sao Paulo. Criminal factions and corporations control this city. What's the difference between the two? Nobody knows. Here is all you need to know about Patch City. The X is the neutral zone of Patch City, where no gang or corporation controls. It's a great place to hide and do shady dealings. The Synths. The 1% of Patch City don't have to inhabit cyber bodies like everybody else. They get to live as perfect human replicas with full functional digestive systems, taste modules, and all the good stuff that money can buy. If you see one out in the wild, maybe your next gig should be a kidnapping one. Hybrids. Not everyone can afford a perfect synthetic body, so they build themselves up piece by piece as they climb the social ladder. Hybrids are usually part synth, part CyBear, or anything else in between. Sewer mutants. Humans who moved into the sewers at the beginning of the collapse and couldn't afford bunkers mutated beyond recognition. They live in tribes beneath the city and almost never return to the surface due to the hazardous conditions above. Humans. Still not extinct. The few humans left live in bunkers and rarely surface. A special suit is required to walk the streets of Patch City since the air is hazardous. Without chrome bodies, humans are vulnerable to the constant gunfire in the streets and the toxic atmosphere. Here are all the factions in Patch City. The gangs comprise of the Thai mob, mostly sea creature cybears who specialize in smuggling and crazy modifications. If you want to buy some cyberware, they're your go-to. Their leader is a giant metallic octopus. Steel Beaks, the birds of Patch City. Steel Beaks are the best thieves around, always hiding in the shadows. They focus on heists and selling glitch drugs. Satan's Pugs. These little guys are all about living fast and dying even faster. They organize street races and they worship the devil. They're pure chaos and not very trustworthy. Bearbones. They run the fighting rings around the city. You can also hire them for protection if you need. Their trademark is that they don't have any fluff. They rip it all out to expose the metal skeletons underneath. The Oners. They are the hackers of the city. If you need a good hacker, they probably already work for the Oners. They believe that bodies should disappear and we should all live in the cloud as one single consciousness. They want to end individuality through technology. The Redpaws. This is the revolutionary gang focused on taking control by violent means. They preach the forbidden ways of socialism and communism. They're mostly bears, but they will accept anybody. Corporations. SynLabs. SynLabs created the Synths and the NeuroCore. They are your top-of-the-line company for a human-like experience. And yes, they do dabble in clones as well. TMI, Teddy Models Industries. TMI created the CyBears. After their military contract with the government was revoked, they launched a line of toys packed with high-grade military tech to offload the losses. Little did they know that it would become a massive success. CleanCore. CleanCore deals in energy of all types. Oil, gas, nuclear reactor. They run power plants all over the city in order to keep it going. The electricity bill to recharge cyber bodies always goes straight to CleanCore. Vigil. Vigil provides protection for the rich. They are the private contractors focused on guarding the wealthier neighborhoods from riots and unrest. If you don't have a high enough income to receive the governmental privilege police protection, Vigil might just have a plan for you. PNET. Most of the technology that people use in Patch City comes from PNET. They are the most advanced tech company in the world. Whatever is left of the internet is now owned by PNET. Trisharp. Trisharp is the military force tasked with protecting the city and selling weapons to the highest bidders. They might just be the richest company of them all. They even have an entire district of Patch City all to themselves to test their newest, latest weapons. And that's it for Patch City. You now have all you need in order to play Fluff and Fury. Thank you so much for watching this. If you want some more resources, check out our website at the link below and we'll put it on the screen as well. You can grab the official Fluff and Fury dice. We've got pins. We have the character sheets that you can download, the crew sheet. We have a Bearbones edition, which is totally for free. It's like a quick start preview edition of Fluff and Fury, and it's all available on there. And as a thank you to our wonderful YouTube subscribers, we want to do a giveaway for you guys. We'll be giving away one of our Fluff and Fury books, a brand new Fluff and Fury book. Just drop a comment saying something about a CyBear. Make sure you're subscribed, and yeah, we will pick one person to give a copy of Fluff and Fury to. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you're excited to try this game. It was a really fun journey for us. Thanks again to our Patreon supporters. Again, as always, you guys are so lovely. Thank you so much. This game would not have been possible without our amazing Kickstarter backers and our backer kit backers. So thank you guys so much for supporting us all the way back in February. I can't believe it's been so long. Thank you to all of you for making this game possible. See you in the next one.
Good.